So, got Brad Evans from Direct Connection, and I'm Adam Rubenstein from Traq.ai. And so let's start out, get a little bit of background. Can you describe what Direct Connection does?
Yes, so we're an advertising and marketing firm that focuses in the property and casualty insurance. We predominantly represent insurance wholesalers, carriers, and some insured tech entities.
And do you focus on specific areas of insurance? I'm asking that you don't cater to all types of insurance.
Now, again, our area of expertise is in the property casualty
Okay.
space, specifically excess and surplus lines. That's where my career has been. My entire life has been in property casualty insurance.
Okay. And how long have you been in the insurance industry?
Longer than I can count. For 40 years, 40 plus years, 45 years.
Okay.
Started out in the claims business, actually.
Okay.
And
So what I'm curious about is I'm going to step back. You're using Track and want to start from the beginning. What were you doing in the past to improve your team's performance, both from a sales perspective and from account management perspective, before we started working together, before you started working with Track?
yeah, so great question. I'm a recent hire at Direct Connection, as my wife had started the firm 20 years ago, but I just recently joined about 3 years ago. And when I came on board, one of um, our objectives was to put me in a sales development role and try to bring in some new business and always be feeding the pipeline. So effectively, from the sales standpoint, I was the person. And
Hmm.
so one of the things I immediately had an issue with is having a conversation with somebody and being simply just to be able to keep up with the notes. And inevitably, as so often is the case, I would refer back to my notes. A couple of them I would look at and go, I don't even know what those mean. And in other cases, I would think about a specific comment that was of importance to me, but I didn't have a note of it. So it was a frustrating situation, but I was a one-man band.
Hmm.
So I needed some support. And we tried bringing in an associate to take notes during the call, but they weren't of a sales mind. So oftentimes the notes weren't what I was really looking for, if you
Okay.
follow that.
Sure. I absolutely get it. And also, I would think cost-wise, an assistant has got to be expensive,
Of course, of course. And
right?
and so that didn't last real long.
Okay. And what about from account management? Because I know that I'm assuming you meet up with your customers or clients on a frequent basis. Do you use anything, do you use Track or anything else for helping out with account management?
Well, that's where Traq.ai has really fit well into our organization. We use Track on every customer call. And so that allows the account manager and their associates to be able to review the call in depth if needed, or certainly to scan the notes or the summary of the call to see if there's something maybe they missed in the conversation. And I think I always look at sentiment because we always think, well, at least I do. I think, oh gosh, I'm really good at my job. Everybody, has got to be shaking their head, yeah, and agreeing. And so taking a look that into the call that Traq.ai allows, I was starting to question, maybe the what I'm hearing is really not what the customer's saying.
Interesting. Okay. And was this a problem before you started capturing the calls and analyzing them?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure we realized what we were missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you hear about Track?
Well, so you and I met at ITC conference. What was that, 2022?
Okay.
And so I was intrigued by what you had to say and took a look at the product further and decided it would be a great tool for us to use.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was a great meeting, and it was from a lot of perspectives. So,
Yes, 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 yes.
um, so when you first started using Track, and I'm curious, did you have any concerns or reservations, initially?
No, actually, I didn't. Matter of fact, myself and our team members were actually excited if what we knew about Track could do, it would help us be way more efficient, and it has.
Okay. And is there any particular reason other than, you like me so much that you decided to go with Track versus,
Um,
any other solution?
sure. So obviously, until we met, I wasn't aware that this type of product existed. Somewhat along the lines of what you and I talked about was I just always thought, gosh, call recordings, which are tedious and really time consuming just to listen to, um, were what I thought was the norm. And so the extra pieces that you've been able to bring to that process have been, significant upgrade in trying to review the results of conversations.
Okay. And can you describe what it's like working with Track and with us?
Oh, you guys have been great. You are always there for any kind of support or questions and have been very supportive. And I think, when we've asked about little nuances of the system, you've always been willing to listen and then take a look at to see if, those changes made sense. So I think, that points to where the product is today. You seem to be continually adding enhancements and capability to the system. And so, I don't know what else anybody could ask for.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate
Mhm.
that very much. Sometimes
Absolutely.
you have a call like this and then you learn that something it happened in the background. You didn't know that maybe there was something, did not go as well as
Right.
you had hoped. So it's good to
Right.
hear that things are going well. In what areas would you think that Track added the most value or where you gained the most value?
So I think there's a couple areas because again, as we talked about, there's the sales component, which is predominantly me. And so for me, um, knowing I've got the information that Track provides me makes me more comfortable in the call because I can
Mm,
always reference it. But for our team, I think it's helped them to also have that little bit of extra confidence when they're on the phone with a client. They can always refer back to the Track summary, and then it's saved us some time as well, again, because there's just more accurate data or information to be able to review.
okay. And from the time you started using Track, was this value achieved immediately, or how long did it take for you to see maybe improvements in the business from using Track?
Yeah, a great question. So I would say it was probably about 90 days because one of the things that we have seen is that for most of our customer client calls, we always had an assistant there to help take notes, um, to support the account manager.
Hmm.
And in many instances, we've eliminated that. So it's
Okay.
freed up that person to take care of other tasks and be productive while the account manager's talking with the client. So but it took us a while, and honestly, it's I'm a great example. It's hard to train an old dog a new trick. So it's like this is what you've done. So how can you not have somebody else on the call? Which
Right.
in fact you really don't.
Has there ever been a time when you went back through a conversation or looked back at the notes that Track prepared and found something that pleasantly surprised you, maybe something that you had missed?
Absolutely. Probably, most calls, there's something there that's like, oh, I didn't hear it quite like um uh, it's in the summary or in the recording or in any of the notes. So uh, many times it's giving me a little different perspective.
Okay, very good. And has it overall changed your processes any there at Direct Connection?
I don't know that it's changed our processes. The biggest difference is it's allowed us to free up some other staff's time, as I just spoke to. But our
Okay,
processes are still the same.
right. Okay. Um, and I guess the following is, has it changed your job in any way?
Well, I think I already alluded to it. From a personal standpoint, I just feel a little bit more comfortable being on a call, not having to worry about taking notes or somebody else taking notes, and either one of us being wrong and or not keeping up. So you just kind of go into the conversation a little more relaxed.
Right,
Um, and I think the other thing that's really important on the note taking side is it allows you to pay better attention
right,
to the
right,
conversation right from the get-go, and actually that can't be overlooked. That's a huge differentiator.
right. Well, thanks for that. Are there
Sure.
any other situations or use cases that you think would benefit from Traq.ai? We've talked about you in sales, talked about your account management team. Is there any other situations that you could benefit from Traq?
Well, so obviously being ingrained in the insurance industry as much as we have or we are, and my claims background, I've talked about how this product could be used in a claims environment, particularly when talking with the insured or even a witness. Again, all those things we've talked about um, are addressed with Track. And then I think the system or the AI component of it could help identify um, potential fraud with phrases, tone of voice, perhaps different ways they answer effectively the same question. So I
Right.
think that is a huge opportunity for you guys to get this deployed out to claims departments so that they can benefit from everything Track can do.
Okay. That's interesting. Very insightful. Thank you.
Mhm.
And why should someone who's watching this video and wants to learn more about Track, why should they take action now rather than wait?
Well, there's no reason to wait. As I recollect, I believe your system has a 14-day free trial.
Hmm.
And I would say to anybody listening to use it for 14 days and see at the end of 14 days what kind of difference it makes. We have it set up so Track shows up on, gosh, I think every type of meeting we do.
Hmm.
And on a rare occasion where um, mostly operator error occurs and it doesn't come onto the system, I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this meeting. The Track's not on. So it's, it will become an integral tool for your business.
Right. So you're talking about you're using it also for internal meetings between your own colleagues?
Well, so we have it set up, but Zoom is the perfect example where Zoom comes up on every meeting, and we use Track AI, or I'm sorry, we use Zoom for internal meetings. And
Hmm.
so yeah, it's there. I probably don't access the data as often as I would on a sales call or a client call, but certainly, again, it's there.
Okay. Well, this has
Mhm.
been very helpful. So if someone watching this wants to know more about you, but more about Direct Connection, how do they find you?
Well, so the easiest way to find us is at our website, which is directconnectionusa.com. It's all one word with no spaces. And certainly anybody can feel free to reach out to me directly. My cell phone number is 707-416-1134, and I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions they may have about Track.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. It's been great chatting with you. I really appreciate you joining me today with this conversation. So for now, that's we're concluded.